So there's some legitimate smoke out there that our buddy Jim Leonhard, who turned down a bunch of Big Ten jobs, wants to go to the Big 12. Apparently, what are your thoughts on that, you guys?
I'm speechless. That's crazy. Like that makes no sense at all. And one of the things, like I'm just trying to process this on the fly, but one of the things that happened with Deion Sanders last year is that he threw Sean Lewis under the bus. Like, he did not treat Sean Lewis very well at all. He gave him an in-season demotion, and Sean Lewis hightailed it out of there, as he darn well should have, going to San Diego State to be head coach of the Aztecs. Found a good landing spot. But boy, if you're Jim Leonhard, like, you want to work for Deion Sanders, who, first off, like, that season went off the rails, and we learned that that start that Colorado had was much more a product of the caliber of opposition rather than anything that Colorado actually did. I mean, Colorado had to do some good things, sure, but Nebraska didn't make a bowl game. TCU didn't make a bowl game. Those were sub 500 teams. And then as soon as things got bad, like, Deion threw his offensive coordinator under the bus. Recruiting didn't really go all that well. Colorado's still way too reliant on the transfer portal. I am really having a hard time putting the puzzle pieces together and trying to figure out why Jim Leonhard thinks that going there to Boulder is in his best interest. And, like, Colorado doesn't even have the style of play that Jim Leonhard, worked with at Wisconsin. Like, now, here's a note. Arizona lost Johnny Nansen, its star defensive coordinator. I believe the Longhorns picked him up. So, like, if there's a Big 12 school with a defensive coordinator job opening that would fit Jim Leonhard, it's Arizona, not Colorado. Like, now, I mean, that Arizona defensive coordinator job, that's a very attractive opening, because Arizona and Utah are going to be at the top of the Big 12 next year, or next season. You would think that Arizona is going to be a prime contender with Noah Fifita and the other weapons they have on offense, with Jed Fish building that program the way he is. Okay, Arizona defensive coordinator, I could see Jim Leonhard springing for that. Like that, you could ride a rocket ship and get to the college football playoff, at least a New Year's Six game. But Colorado, like, the air went out of that balloon, and the coach is a lightning rod who doesn't treat his coordinators well. That if Jim Leonhard's going to Boulder, that would be a shocker. Not a slight surprise, but a shocker.
Hey, really quick again, you guys, if you have not already subscribed, please do hit that subscription button right here. So you know when we're going live. We're trying to get to 5,000. If you're liking the content, we cover USC 2 to 3 times a week, and we show up randomly if there's big breaking news. So make sure what you do subscribe. Also, make sure you hit that notification bell. Sorry, Matt.
There is so much to chew on here that I'm going to continue down Matt's path that he's led us on. Just if you understand the landscape of college football and where all of this is headed and where the power brokers are, just look at the landscape of college football. What did we just see in the playoff? We saw 2 SEC, 2 Big Ten in the future. Then we see everyone who's just outside of the playoff, outside of Florida State, is all SEC, all Big Ten, Missouri, Ole Miss, Oregon, Ohio State, Georgia. Look at a preseason top 10 released by ESPN. Not that I'm putting faith in ESPN, but this would be a consensus across the board. The entire top 10 is Big Ten and SEC. That's where all the money, the revenue, the power, the attention is going to lie, first and foremost, from a big picture standpoint. So I would think you would want to put your work on display in those circles. Secondly, of course, I'm not going to lay it out any better than what Matt said about the treatment of Sean Lewis in the public arena for everyone to see was awful. And then on top of that, whether it's Deion drawing this and wanting this attention, which I believe much of it is, or just that it comes his way, you're just going to a place where that head coach he's going to be the the attention getter all the time, and not as a defensive coordinator, you're looking for attention, but that program is just all about Dion. And then also, again, to contrast it to what Jim Leonhard did at Wisconsin and how he was able with those defensive performances to complement what they did offensively, that just doesn't seem like a good fit to try to field a defense and prove your value against an offense that is just going to be going a mile a minute and up tempo and going to be exasperating your defensive effort. It just doesn't make sense on so many levels.